that's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so.
Welcome back to the Bottom Line Cast. This is episode 4, Stone Cold. This week we'll be covering July through October 1996. I'm Mike Prue, along with JV. How you doing, JV?
Doing well. How you doing?
Good. Just finished watching some football today.
Yeah, a little crazy fantasy football Sunday.
And 2 matchups with each other this week.
Yep. Splitting 1-1 right now.
Yeah, I might as well.
Yeah, not
Not a bad day if you split.
I'll take it.
Can't get lucky enough to win both.
Nope.
So we're here this week. We're going to be covering, like I said at the top there, July through October. So got a lot of information to go through. And, last week I had said that we would just be covering the summer of 96. But based on types of events that happened during this time, we didn't think we had enough for an episode to do for just September and October. We didn't want to do 2 very short ones, like 2 half-hour episodes where there's nothing really huge standout about it. So we figured let's just do it all together as one episode. And we call it Stone Cold because throughout these months, he's developing that Stone Cold character that he becomes. And by the end of this episode, I think he's really fully at that point of being Stone Cold Steve Austin that you came to know and love. Right, JV?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I agree with you 110%.
All right, so last week we covered Austin 316, so we got that, that big moment where he wins this King of the Ring, now has some kind of victory over, or a meaningful victory in the WWF, some type of championship, not a championship,
an accolade.
An accolade, and he becomes that King of the Ring, and then kicks off the Austin 316, which becomes huge, but not right away. Yeah, WWF likes to make it seem, or WWE likes to make it seem like that Austin 316 was running wild, like Hulkamania, right from the start.
Yeah, like the next day or
promo.
something. Yeah,
right. Like on the next day, everybody at Raw was holding up signs, Austin 316. And it's simply not true. It didn't happen that way. It would be months later before you started to see Austin 316 signs. And at that point, June 1996, people really didn't bring signs to Raw. If you go back and watch those Raws, you don't really see many signs at all. So that changes over time.
Yeah, I caught that as well.
Comes later.
Yeah.
So as I said, we're just going to break down month by month, July, August, September, October. Okay, we'll cover the Raws that he appears on. Take a look at his pay-per-view matches that he has over that period of time. So we'll start first with the Raw that's the night after King of the Ring, which is June 24th, and it's Raw 165. And I think it's notable because this is the first time he has a match with The Undertaker. All right, so if you want to check that match out, timestamp is 32 minutes, 33 seconds. Goes until about 48 minutes on the WWE Network. So if you want to check that out, go ahead and do that. All right. I wanted to point out that he will go on to have more matches with The Undertaker than anybody else. Pay-per-view, at least. So this is the beginning of a long feud that he ends up having with The Undertaker. I thought that was notable for us to talk about here. Also, another thing that happens there is that The Undertaker is now going through a change. Okay, he had Paul Bearer along with them for so long, and that is now turning. And I'm going to say this a lot throughout this episode. Many of Austin's matches usually are directed at another angle. Usually have nothing to do with Austin.
Yeah, at this point, he's not the central figure in a lot of the matches. He's just kind of, a spoke in the wheel, I guess is a good way to put it.
Right, because the night before, Undertaker lost to Mankind, and Paul Bearer had accidentally hit Undertaker with the urn. So most of the commentary of this match by Lawler is Lawler continuously talking about how Bearer didn't do that by accident, that he caused that problem and cost the Undertaker a win. And they even interview Bearer or try to interview Bearer outside the ring during this match. So a lot is taken away from the actual in-ring action here. And from just watching that, trying to block off Lawler and the commentary of this match, I saw a lot of good things with the match, but really just it takes away from it ultimately.
Yeah.
And yet, Jimmy?
Well, they hype up too that if Taker loses that match, it'll be his first back-to-back loss of his career. I guess up to that point he hadn't lost back-to-back matches.
No.
So I forget, wanted to make a comment about that. So, but the match-wise, yeah, there wasn't really much to take away. Austin just doing like the typical working the lower body of the big guy, trying to wear him down, and all that good stuff you usually see opponents try to do to the Undertaker. So.
Yeah. So the match ends in another silly way, where you have Goldust had come down the ringside and he sits at commentary. And then he eventually interferes, leading to a DQ finish. He throws a bunch of gold dust. He throws it in the direction of Undertaker, but it hits Undertaker in the face, but so much of it ends up on Stone Cold that it's pretty funny to see badass Stone Cold just covered in gold. But I thought it was creative in a sense because you have Austin coming off of winning the King of the Ring. Then you have Undertaker who just lost, like he had said, JV. And it's going to end in a DQ, so no one's really taking a hit here. It doesn't really affect Austin because he's not losing. He's not taking a pin. He's not losing by pinfall. He's not taking the tombstone. And Undertaker's not losing again. It's just DQ. Right. So it's a good way for both of them to not take a real loss. And then at the end of the match, Lawler's going to go in and interview Undertaker, but we don't need to talk about that. JV, what did you think of it? You had told me before pre-show here when we were getting ready to tape that you weren't really impressed much with it.
No, right, and it goes back to, and the reason being goes back to the point that you had just made, which ends up being like the theme of the episode, is how Austin Stone Cold is not the main focus of these matches. He's just kind of there. He's not the spotlight guy like Taker was at the time. And as much as they respect Austin and all that at the time, they still make some comments to kind of put over how Austin's able to stay in the match with the Undertaker. Like Vince McMahon says on multiple occasions how tired and worn the Undertaker is from the night before and all that. So, but really not much of a match. I enjoyed the Lawler segments with Barra kind of harassing him, like, is there Folgers in that thing, just taking shots at the urn, which is it's funny stuff, good humor back in the day. But otherwise, kind of a forgettable match itself, unless you count the Burger King guys in the front row.
Yeah, you have a whole row of people wearing Burger King crowns.
Yeah,
I think it was that episode anyway.
Yeah. I'm like 99% sure it is. But yeah, I was also 99% sure Baracus was Brackus. So.
Well, actually. It probably is because that was a live Raw, and then they recorded like the next 4 episodes there too. So
okay.
That front row was there for a long time. At Burger King grounds.
Yeah.
All right, so that leads us now into another match we're going to talk about. Well, actually, it's not even really a match. Austin at this point, because the night before he's injured. We talked about this last week. He gets injured by the kick to the lip or the mouth by Mark Mero and busts him up and gets 16 stitches. So he has this match with Undertaker, but after that, he's not really going to wrestle at all. They want to kind of heal up for a week and a half. So he doesn't do any house shows other than this taping. And then the next night is the Superstars taping for the next month of shows. And during that run of episodes, he's not having any matches. He has matches, but he's forfeiting them all, which I thought was really cool. Because now he's having these matches with these job guys or underneath talent, and he's just berating them every week. I'm not wrestling you. You're not even on my level. Blah, blah, blah. And that's a great way, because a great way to have his character develop, knowing that he can't wrestle. So let's have him cut some promos and just be like this big dickhead. So we're going to play a promo for you of him doing that very thing to Aldo Montoya. That he's not going to wrestle Aldo Montoya. So take a listen.
Wrestling monarch T.L. Hopper here next week against Duke the Dumpster Grossi, sort of a home improvement kind of a man. No doubt about that. Aldo Montoya in the squared circle, and he is set for action against Stone Cold Steve Austin, who's in a real bad mood apparently. Anyways, WWF Superstars is brought to you by Burger King, where you can get your burgers worked.
Wait a minute. Here comes Stone Cold Steve Austin, but he doesn't have his wrestling attire on.
What's going on?
He was raising quite a disturbance before we went on the air. something about inferior competition now that he's the 1996 King of the Ring.
Yeah, he's asking for the microphone.
Go tell him what he's going to say.
Here's the story. The whole world knows my name is Stone Cold Steve Austin. And a few people know your name is Aldo Montoya. If I just won the King of the Ring, if I just beat the best the World Wrestling Federation has to offer, I ain't wrestling you. I'm not gonna draw a breath of fresh air and waste it, son. You're a piece of garbage.
Oh, no.
You don't deserve to be in the same ring with Stone Cold, much less the same state. What I'm gonna do is forfeit the match right now, son.
What?
I'm gonna forfeit the match out of the goodness of my heart because I'm in a good mood today. Years from now, you can say to your kids, I was fortunate enough to beat Stone Cold in a match. A forfeit no less, but it was a win. The question I'm going to ask you is, are you going to accept the forfeit, or am I going to have to go ahead and stomp your little guts in?
Don't accept it. Go ahead.
Oh, wait a minute, look at that. Cheap shot.
Look at this. Austin set up Aldo Montoya. Look at Austin.
Covering the rib area.
Look at this. Austin all over.
Oh, no. Stone Cold Stunner. Austin just stomped away at Aldo's ribs, and Austin's got those boots on. Those aren't wrestling boots.
Aldo should have taken the win. He should have taken the win. Aldo should have spoken.
Who does he think he is?
He's the king of the ring. That's who he is.
He's going to...
All right, so that was a great promo right there. Hilarious. Some of the stuff that he says.
Holds to this day.
Yeah. And yes, for you Massachusetts listeners, yes, that was Aldo Montoya. We talked about him before. PJ Walker. Somebody on Wikipedia fix that. Put his real name there. PJ Walker.
Yeah.
All right, so moving on through July, because he doesn't do much. Like I said, he's kind of injured from those stitches, so they don't really want him to be busted open again. So he doesn't work much throughout those early weeks in July, leading up to the pay-per-view, where he has a rematch with Mark Mero at In Your House International Incident, July 21st, 1996. Want to watch that match on the network? It's at 31 minutes, and it goes until about 44 minutes. All right, so one thing that stands out right away here when Austin comes out during this match is that he's now wearing tights that have this goofy-ass logo on the back of his tights. No longer straight up black like he ends up wearing. There's this awkward little period where he has these tights that say Stone Cold and has like a Dallas Cowboys star on it. And I'm sure he didn't want to wear those, so they go away pretty quick.
Yeah, it's pretty awful.
Yeah, goofy. And eventually he's going to have a vest to match those tights.
It's like a Little League team logo or something.
Yeah.
No?
Well, it's like they put the order in, but the trunks only came in first, and he didn't have the vest right away.
Yeah.
They had to wait to use the vest later. I think by the time he even gets the vest, he's not wearing those tights anymore.
Yeah, I think he's just wearing the all black.
Yeah. So at the beginning of the match, they show the kick in the face again from the King of the Ring, just to kind of set the stage for what's going on. And right away, they're gonna take away from this match by showing Marlena in the back doing what they did a bunch of times at that time in 1996. Show the AOL chat room. They show a wrestler on the computer chatting with people.
Yeah, in episode 1 or 2 in one of the matches, there's Michaels is in AOL room, right? I think we discussed that in one of the early episodes, and it's like he's never typed before. He's just kind of like, in this case, Marlene is not even doing anything. She has like a servant taking care of stuff for her.
Yeah, she has the usher.
Yeah, the usher. Yeah. Which shout out to WWE. They're always ahead of the curve. They're always going in on technology and wherever the media's heading. Being with social media and everything, they're always there. They always want to be in the front, the forefront of it all. So
I always wanted to go into those chats, but I can never seem to actually find when they were actually happening.
Yeah, same here. Had the same issue.
It's like, I don't know if they were really doing it, or they were just advertising AOL.
If any listener ever got into one of those, let us know. We just need that
you
peace
ever
of mind.
Chat?
Yeah.
I don't think it was legit. I think they were working us there.
Yeah.
They just wanted us to go to the AOL page.
Yeah, AOL loved it. Like, look how high traffic is when WWE's on. You know?
Yeah.
Get off the phone. I need to use the internet.
Couple of things that stand out in the match with Mark Mero at this International Incident pay-per-view is that one thing that I liked a lot was Mero hits Austin with that same move that caused the injury at King of the Ring. And then Austin acts like it really busted up his lip again.
Yep.
And he's like, oh, he's down on his knees and he's playing possum. And Mark Mero stops. And then Austin attacks him.
Yeah.
So it worked great for Austin. But my question is, Mark Mero, why the hell do you care if you hit him in the chin again?
Yeah, exactly.
You're in a fight. You're in a fight right now. You want him to be hurt.
Even Lawler kind of like villainizes him in one point for intentionally kicking Austin in the mouth, speaking to the kick that actually made him, busted him open. It's like, no kidding he intentionally kicked him in the mouth.
Right.
That's the whole goal of the kick.
Yeah.
No, it's just weird. It's that stuff like that you catch when you go back and watch these matches, which we hope you all your listeners do too. So, it's the other stuff that kind of me personally that is interesting. So Jim Ross is also pushing Austin right from that point, mentioning that he's destined for stardom.
Yeah, Ross has been a big supporter throughout the whole time.
Yep.
His commentary always is putting Austin over. All right, so back to that idea of the matches usually not being directed towards Austin. You have Marlena again, so they showed her at the beginning in the AOL chat, but then you have her come out again with the usher. And there's some good things going on in the match at the time. So the timing of her coming out sucks because they're really heating up towards the end of the match. And we're missing some of the good spots in the match because they're now focused on Marlena. And, 13-year-old me, not complaining at all about looking at Marlena instead of the match.
No.
But
that was the highlight. That was the highlight at 13.
But looking now and just reassessing and looking over the match, I'm missing some good stuff in the match because of it. So, yeah, it's just this constant interruption of stuff going on in Austin matches. Just using him to offshoot to other angles. So eventually, Austin hits the stunner. Yeah, this is pre-gut shot days, pre-middle fingers.
Yeah.
So kind of like an awkward stunner, or it's kind of just like a chin buster.
Yeah. With a little,
right.
some finesse to it at the beginning of it, just a little.
Yeah.
In the twist or whatever. Did you stick around for like a minute after the finish?
I think so. What happened?
To see Bob Backlund campaigning in the background on Canada for president for the United States and Canada campaigning.
Ridiculous.
Vince or JR makes a point of it when might even be Lawler, someone, whoever's doing color, makes a point of that too. It's funny.
He's probably figuring out there's more people in America watching this.
Yeah, people were hyped though. Canadian crowd was hyped for Bob Backlund.
So ultimately, I don't think this match is as good as the match the month before at the King of the Ring. I give it 2 skulls. 2 skull rating for me.
I'm going to give it 2 skulls. That's it. I mean, and that's generous.
Just so your listeners are aware, we're just giving skull ratings to the pay-per-view matches. We're not going to do all the Raw matches. We'll talk about the Raw matches, but we're not really going to rate those. Unless one stands out. But usually they don't because Austin always gets screwed and it leads to some other kind of storyline. So it's not really a focus on him. All right, so at the end of July, we have some Raw appearances. I'll just go through quickly some of the things that go on. A lot of these things is not much to talk about. Raw 169 from July 22nd, Austin is on commentary during a match with Mark Mero and the Goon. And it's funny because he calls out the Goon. He says, "Oh, this Bill Irwin." He just calls. He just says the guy's real.
I didn't catch
name.
that. No kidding.
So he doesn't give a shit. So he's like, "That's Bill Irwin in a hockey costume." And then he does the same thing later on at some point to Barry Windham as the Stalker.
Oh, does he?
Barry Windham. Yeah.
That's funny. Did you catch during that promo, he mentions something. He takes a shot at basically like Lex Luger and the Lex Express. He's like, "Oh, you don't have to bring me around in a red, white, and blue bus kissing babies."
Oh yeah.
He says that. That was funny. And then he makes considering everything going around nowadays, he makes a comment about Sable, how she should be clinging pots and pans, not ringside.
Some great lines.
And is that the first time he uses a can of whoop ass comment? Opening up a can of whoop ass. Because we've been watching it now for the past few episodes, and it seems like that might be the first time he brings out the can of whoop ass.
Yeah. Yep. He says, "Whoop your ass" at King of the Ring.
Yep.
Yeah, this is a little slight variation of that, and then it turns into the can of whoop ass.
Yeah. I think the commentary's worth it. Like, go back, watch that. You're not going to be disappointed.
Oh, yeah. Some of this early stuff is so good. And then the following week on Raw 170, which aired on July 29th. And remember, Raw wasn't really live. It was only live once a month. And they tape every other week that same night. So it didn't actually happen on July 29th, but that's the air date. He has a match with The Undertaker. Right? So a month ago, the first match we covered in this episode was against The Undertaker. Now he has the second match against The Undertaker. And we weren't really impressed with how the first one went. And I think this one is even least impressive. What do you say, JV?
I agree. It was just a bad... There was nothing to it. It was hard to follow it. I don't know.
It starts off weird because Austin's like trying to shake hands with The Undertaker.
Yeah.
Like a sign of sportsmanship. It's like, why would you ever do that? Especially, why would you be doing it with The Undertaker, too?
After your promo last week... On 169, the pro, but all the things you said on commentary, the persona you put on there, and then to show up, I don't know, the following week and try to shake Taker's hand is kind of funny.
Yeah. One thing I did like about this match was Undertaker does his walk on the top rope, and I don't remember ever seeing this again, or definitely prior to this, it never happened. We have Austin shakes the rope and the Undertaker falls. Like a simple thing, like he's holding your hand. He's up there on the top rope. Just grab the damn rope and shake it. And Austin does that. And the Undertaker falls on, splits his legs on the rope. So I thought that was an excellent move. And on commentary, Lawler, I think he brings up something that ends up being taken by Austin, that Austin ends up using numerous times, and that's stomping a mud hole and walking it dry. Because there's one point where Austin is just stomping the Undertaker. And Lawler brings up the reference to McMahon. He says, "McMahon, you ever hear of stomping a mud hole and walking it dry? Because that's what he's doing right now." And Austin will go on to use that all the time in promos. He's going to stomp a mud hole and walk it dry. Another thing on commentary I just thought was funny is McMahon's like a McMahon mannerism. A McMahnerism. Where he just has like these corny old lines. "This is turning into a Donnybrook."
Yeah.
The real Donnybrook. So I was like, what the hell is that? I know what it is, obviously, because they're talking about it's a brawl. I was like, where does this come from, Donnybrook? So I looked it up. I guess Donnybrook is a place in Ireland where they'd have a fair, and the fair always just turned into a big shit show, drunk people fighting. So the term is the Donnybrook.
No kidding.
Named after the Donnybrook Fair. A big brawl.
But on Urban Dictionary, it means something totally different, I bet.
Yeah. Donnybrook. Yeah. It's like a donkey punch.
Yeah.
You do this with the girl. And,
yeah. Something crazy. Something not suitable for anything, anywhere.
Now, what else do you have to say about that match, JV? Anything?
Nothing.
All right.
I
was trying to buy some time because I want to look on Urban Dictionary and see if there's a definition for Donnybrook.
No, not much. Just really, there's not much to that. I mean, Mankind. I mean, that's the kind of whole thing they're pushing there is Mankind and Taker really, and this is just another part where Austin just kind of there, which is good. I mean, he's in the ring with the Undertaker, so, but it was more to kind of. It was still a Mankind Undertaker feud going on, so.
Right. Yeah, so, again, the theme of the episode, Austin matches don't mean shit, really. And try to put other people over.
Yeah. Yeah, they get to see a reaction with him and with some of the other stars in the ring, see what the crowd reacts, and it was good. I mean, it was definitely great for Stone Cold's career progression.
Oh, yeah. All right, so I looked up Donnybrook, and nothing great. Basically, even the Urban Dictionary definition is the same as what I had researched. A massive, out-of-control street fight, a rumble. Damn, that football game erupted into a Donnybrook. I wanted to start a fight, but ended up in a Donnybrook. So, listeners out there, here's your homework assignment. Come up with a Donnybrook definition in the real fashion of Urban Dictionary.
Give us a grade A Urban Dictionary definition for Donnybrook.
Just make something up. Don't believe it. That's what most definitions are, is just made up crap.
Yeah.
On Urban Dictionary. All right, so that brings us to the end of July at that point. So, like I've done in the past couple episodes, I'm just going to run through what matches Austin had throughout that month, whether it be at a taping or house show. All right, so he had the match with The Undertaker on a Raw taping. We're going to get to it in a minute. He has a Battle Royal. And he has the match with Mero on a Superstars taping that we'll get to. And then house shows finally. He goes up against Savio Vega in no DQ matches for basically the whole rest of the month. So Vega. The Vega saga continues on the house shows.
Part 2.
Yeah. So that brings us to August. On Raw 171, we have 11-man Invitational Battle Royal. And this is for a title shot. Championship title shot. World Championship. So this is Austin's first shot at getting a world title shot. So that's pretty cool. So you have 11 men. Okay, I didn't list all the 11 men. I don't think that matters. Right?
No.
It comes down to 4, essentially. So the last 4, you have Sid, Ahmed Johnson, Goldust, Steve Austin. And the title shot will be the night after SummerSlam. And a lot of stuff is going to change over the next month. So while I'm saying this, that may not have been what happened, but that's how they're putting it at this point on August 5th, is that the winner is going to face champion the night after SummerSlam. So Austin eliminates Sid, and it gets down to 3. So you have Goldust, Austin, and Ahmed. So Goldust and Austin kind of team up together, and they go after Ahmed Johnson. But Austin ends up being eliminated, double teamed by Johnson and Goldust. So Goldust turns on him. You'd think that Austin would be the one to turn on Goldust based on his character, but Goldust gets that little heel rub. Okay, Austin should have gotten the title match opportunity, I think, because he's the king of the ring. That's just my opinion. But it ends up going to Ahmed Johnson, who just won the IC title the night before, so I guess you can make an argument that, he should have it. But at that point, Shawn Michaels is the world champion, so then you have babyface versus babyface, Ahmed Johnson versus Shawn Michaels. But none of that ends up happening.
And I think they had a few tag matches prior to that. Like, I think they were they had Ahmed Johnson just when I was watching some of the earlier stuff we just discussed. Sometimes I'll watch 10 minutes before or whatever. And there are some parts where you have them actually teamed up as a tag team in a few matches. HBK and Ahmed Johnson, that is.
Oh,
so
must have missed that.
Yeah. So you could kind of see, just to, put the pieces together in everyone's mind as far as where WWE was at that point. Ahmed Johnson was also the first Black Intercontinental Champion. So, they were actually very high on Ahmed Johnson. So, but I agree with Mike. Austin, in my opinion, also should have gotten the title match opportunity because, hell, he was the king of the ring.
Right.
And Johnson already had a title. What the hell?
So anyways, it's not going to end up mattering because Johnson has to announce that he's injured.
Yep.
And he's going to have to vacate the IC title. And then they're going to have to come up with a whole new way to determine who's going to be the number 1 contender for the World Championship. So we'll get to that gradually as the weeks go on here. And the next thing with Austin is on a Superstars taping, he loses to Mark Mero, and Mankind interrupts, which makes no sense because Mankind's not involved in anything with Mark Mero and Steve Austin, but Mankind is just effed up like that. So he comes down, and I guess the real purpose is this is happening the night before or the day before SummerSlam. SummerSlam has the Boiler Room Brawl match, Undertaker and Mankind. So it's a way of getting Mankind on TV to promote his match the next day at SummerSlam. So let's use an Austin match to do that. So another example of Austin matches being used to build up other storylines. So Austin also, too, King of the Ring. Coming off of King of the Ring just in June, here in August, he doesn't even have a match at SummerSlam on the main card. He's having a match with Yokozuna on the free-for-all, the pre-show. Yokozuna. At this point, Yokozuna is not the Yokozuna of 1993 when he was the world champion. He's way overweight, too.
He's got a beard.
Yeah, he's got a beard.
He looks down and out. Now. Yeah, he's down and out. He doesn't look Japanese anymore.
No. So, they have the match in the free-for-all. Austin wins. Better win if he's going to be on a free-for-all, not on the main card. The match only lasts a couple minutes. Yoko ends up getting him into the spot where he's about to finish him with the bonsai drop, which even that I don't like because that shouldn't happen. Austin's coming off being the king of the ring and going to put him in a situation where he almost lost. And if it wasn't for the top turnbuckle pad falling apart and Yokozuna falling back, luckily Austin moving, he's able to pin Yoko, get the count. 1, 2, 3. And Austin gets the win. But it was positioned to look like he was about to lose, which is stupid, in my opinion. All right, so nothing really to talk about there. JV's mute here, so he doesn't have anything to say about this match.
No, nothing at all. Nothing. Next!
Yeah, next. All right, so we're back to a live Raw, August 19th, 1996, Raw 173. And then we have another Battle Royal. And this goes back to the situation we were talking about previously with the Battle Royal, where they're going to make a number one contender. So, this night was supposed to be that World Championship match, but because of what happened with Ahmed Johnson, it changed. Now they're doing a Battle Royal to determine who it's going to be. And then they're going to have the match, the World Championship match, on September 6th, 1996, on a special edition of Raw called Championship Friday. So Ahmed's injured. A new contender is going to be determined. And you have 4 people in this sudden death. You have Austin, Sid, Goldust, Savio Vega. Those are the 4. Now, one person... Yeah, Ahmed Johnson. So Savio Vega is essentially replacing Ahmed Johnson because everybody else was in that final 4 of the last Battle Royal. So now you throw in Savio Vega. Probably
who basically eliminated himself in the last Battle Royal with that
with the kick,
that spin kick into the corner that we discussed in the Vega Saga episode 2.
Yeah, the kick that he does all the time.
Yeah, and he gets he flips. Yeah, I think he was the first one out. If I'm not mistaken, in the 11-man one. So.
All right, so little character development here for Austin. It's the first time he's worn a vest. He's got that vest that we were talking about earlier with the Dallas Cowboys logo and Stone Cold. So he's wearing that now. New addition. Sid gets eliminated very quickly. He's triple teamed, and they get him out right away.
Poor Sid.
Yeah, dumbass Sid. Sorry, Sid. Austin is eliminated by Savio Vega. And that's fitting because of their history. Makes sense. If Austin's going to be eliminated, Savio Vega is the guy to do it. And then Austin attacks Vega inside the match. Yep. Goes back into the ring, rather, and continues to go after Vega. Goldust ultimately ends up winning. He earns the title shot. So at Championship Friday, you have Shawn Michaels versus Goldust for World Championship match. Goldust was the last eliminated in the 11-man battle previously. So I thought it made sense that he should get the title shot. And I also think, instead of even having this match, they could have just said, because of Ahmed Johnson's injury, the person that was last in the ring should be the number one contender. So that was probably their logic when they made the outcome to this match. But they've probably figured, well, we need to make a show, so we need to have matches, so let's just create this match for this. Just give it to Goldust.
Yep. who was the former IC champion, right? If I'm not mistaken, that's who Ahmed Johnson beat, right?
Yeah, Ahmed Johnson beat.
So
Yeah, Goldust. Because you notice Ahmed Johnson's wearing the gold strap IC title still.
Oh, I didn't catch that. I'll have to go back and take a look at that.
I mean, he only does it for one day because he drops the title right away.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, that's true. That's right. That's another point.
Yeah, so that the night after King of the Ring, you'll see him come down to the ring with the gold belt.
But I think and I guess that goes back to when things were recorded. How some things were recorded before others and then recorded after. Because in one of the earlier pay-per-views or whatever, when Ahmed Johnson's on the side of Shawn Michaels and it looks like they're tagging or whatever in like just an on-the-fly match, he has the black strap for the IC title. I'm pretty sure.
Oh.
So, but if someone's watching one of the early ones, you catch that, let us know. Was it black or was it gold?
Definitely originally gold, but maybe it goes to black right after.
Yeah, like I said, it might be just
One
like
of the tapings.
Yeah, how they...
Like on Superstar taping or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
All right, that wraps up August, and we're just going to run through who we had matches with in August from the house shows. Yeah, a lot of it's going to be the same names again. So you have, starts off the month, 2nd, the 3rd, the 4th against Savio Vega in those same no DQ matches, where Austin usually hits him in the nuts to get the win. And then you have a series of matches in the Northeast, where he's moved away from Vega. Now he's having matches with Aldo Montoya, which maybe has to do with Aldo Montoya being from here, so they wanted him to be involved in those matches or being on the card. So he has matches at Cohasset, Mass, Warwick, Rhode Island, Hyannis, Mass. And then the very next day, they go to Madison Square Garden, and Austin has a match with The Undertaker on August 9th. And then it's back to Vega on the 10th. The 11th, he has a match with Roberts. On the 18th is the free-for-all with Yokozuna. And then you have the Raw tapings from August 19th, and that's when you had the 4-man Battle Royal. He has a match with Mark Mero, which we're going to get to in a minute. And then on the Superstars taping, he has a match with Tony Williams and Freddie Joy Floyd, which is Tracy Smothers. And then the 21st, 23rd, he's having matches with Shawn Michaels for the first time. And then August 24th, Mark Mero match. And then he has a tag team match, tag teaming with Hunter Hearst Helmsley against Mark Mero and Savio Vega on August 25th in Long Island, New York. So that wraps up Austin's August. And that brings us now to September, where stuff's really going to start to heat up, I think, for Steve Austin going forward the next couple of months. And we start to get more of that Stone Cold persona being fully developed at this point. And never more so than in this audio clip we're about to play for you, where Steve Austin is going to challenge Bret Hart for the first time. So let's go to that clip now.
Steve, it's safe to say that Stone Cold is red hot right now. But that's going to be put to the test this Friday night in a big Intercontinental title match against the Wild Man, Mark Mero. A man you faced before. A man you beat at King of the Ring. But that was then. This is now. What are your thoughts on Mero today?
Personally, I think Mark Mero is a complete piece of trash. And the same goes for his old lady. As far as wrestling goes, I think my record against him speaks for itself.
I agree.
Looking beyond me being the next Intercontinental Champion, I'd like to take this chance to get something off my mind that's been eating at me for a long, long time.
Please go right ahead, Steve.
I'd like to use this chance to issue a challenge against one Bret the Hitman Hart.
What? Whoa.
I'm the best there is, I'm the best there was, and I'm the best there ever will be.
I can't believe what Austin's saying. Look at Pillman. He looks upset.
Sure, Bret, you said it first, but I live it each and every day of my life.
Now wait a minute, Steve. I've known you a long time now. Remember, we're talking about Bret Hart, the Hitman, one of the greatest legends of all time.
I know exactly who I'm talking about, son.
Yeah, we want Bret.
As far as you cutting me off, I'll knock your head off just as soon as I would the Hitman's. Bret, you used to wear the pink and the black. In Stone Cold's book, pink stands for you know what. I am the best there is, and that's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so.
All right, so he's going right after Bret Hart. Bret Hart's supposed to be coming back, and Austin wants it to be known that he's going to be involved with Bret Hart, and he wants to challenge Bret Hart. And right from there, at the end of that promo, you heard, I think, Kevin Kelly saying that Austin's going to have a match with Mero at Championship Friday. It's going to be a first-round IC title match for the first round of the tournament. So we're going to go right to that now. That's Raw 174. It's called the USA Championship Friday on September 6, 1996. The timestamp for this match is 8 minutes, 55 seconds. So it's just really at the beginning of the show. And you have Brian Pillman on commentary during this match. And he's talking, and he even refers to Austin having a match with Bret Hart down the road. This match, as usual with Austin and Mero, it's a pretty decent match. But I do think that Pillman's commentary is taken away from the action. But screw it, it's Pillman. Whatever he has to say is usually interesting and off the wall. So I like any time that you get to hear Brian Pillman. There wasn't enough of it, really. So I really enjoy that stuff from Brian Pillman. A couple things with the match is it ends kind of weird. You have Austin tossing the ref out of the way, and then he stuns Mero, but then he's DQ'd. So he would have gone on to win, obviously, but it was that little shove of the ref, because the ref is standing in the way. He's trying to get to his opponent. He just tosses him out of the way, and that leads to the DQ. They have a post-match brawl. Austin and Mero going at it. And if he's going to lose to anybody in the tournament, it made sense that it's Mero, because Mero's going to win the IC title. He's going to win the whole thing. So at least he loses to the eventual winner, and not somebody that just loses in the next round.
And it's eventually, that's the best Sable outfit so far.
Oh,
of what we've seen of Sable coming up, in my opinion, the best outfit Sable's worn up to this point is in Raw 174.
Oh, yeah. I was listening back because I like to just go over it, the previous episodes.
Yep.
When we're getting them together, getting them ready to play. A couple of times when we talk about Sable, I say, "Oh yeah," I sound like a creep when I say that, and I just said it again. I was like, oh.
Sometimes you just gotta call a spade, you know?
Yeah, I guess I am a creep. All right, so then on Raw, he's going to continue over the next 2 weeks, called Hart Out. So Hart hasn't appeared yet. He's not back, but he just keeps talking about Bret Hart. All right, so after that show on September 6th, you have Superstars that weekend, match with Tracy Smothers, Freddie Joe Floyd, and who cares other than that. One thing that comes out, it wasn't talked about at the time because Bret Hart wasn't supposed to be back. Bret Hart is having some kind of warm-up matches, kind of get back in shape, ring shape, and he's on the South African tour. And in the WWE Network section of the Vault, where they have the hidden gems, there's a great, I think, really good match with Austin and Bret Hart. So that's from September 14th, 1996. Davey, you watched it today, I think, or yesterday. What'd you think?
No, I watched it. I liked it because it seems like this is where Stone Cold really kicks off the ass kicker mentality. Is even in this hidden gem untelevised, right? This was untelevised, I assume, right? Like it wasn't aired on television or anything like that.
It wasn't aired on television. It would later be on a DVD set.
Yeah, but So it seems like you kind of see Stone Cold coming out of his shell a little bit more and becoming more Stone Coldish, just because he seems to really have that ass kicker mentality. I thought it was a really solid match, technically sound, like just their back and forth, the way they transitioned. Bret Hart, man, the way no one hit the turnbuckle like that guy. Like when he hits the turnbuckle, it's flawless. It's just like he sells the hell out of it. It's amazing.
Right, you can feel the pain basically.
Yeah. Like just Stone Cold, he's the ass kicker mentality. I'm pretty sure he goes at Owen Hart at the start of the match. Like he gives a pre-match warning to Owen Hart, like because Owen Hart had interfered in like another match. He's like, "You better not interfere in my match," and it was good.
Kick your ass or something like that.
Yeah.
So for what it is, being a hidden gem and that you probably haven't seen it, I would definitely go take a look at it.
I'd say it's I'd agree. It's a must watch.
Yeah,
like
it's
you had
early
mentioned,
Austin.
Yeah.
Bret Hart is Bret Hart at that point, so it's going to be a good match when you have those two guys in there.
But what did you think of the ending?
Check it out.
Because I know we spoke about that briefly.
Oh,
I thought the ending was
kind of anticlimactic.
Yeah, like the last 30 seconds is like the only part of the match.
It's building up very nicely.
Yeah.
It's building up very nicely, and then it ends with the small package roll-up.
Yep.
Like, okay. I mean, I guess it doesn't kill Austin because he's not submitting in a sharpshooter. So that was probably part of the booking, is that you don't want Austin submitting. So let Bret Hart kind of sneak the win in.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, in that point it was good. No, that's a good point you just made. It was that does help the ending. I kind of didn't look at it from that perspective. So it's a good point.
All right, thanks. So continue on. The following week is Mind Games, In Your House Mind Games. Austin doesn't have a match, but he's going to have an interview segment with Brian Pillman and Owen Hart, and it's just excellent. So we're going to go to that right now. Enjoy.
Why do you think he's not here?
Well, the only thing that I can think of that would keep my brother Bret away from this Philadelphia is that he's scared.
Of me, right?
No, he's not scared of you. He's not even that scared of me. He's a little scared of me. But the reason that he is scared and that fear is in his eyes is for none other reason than the 1996 King of the Ring, a man none other than Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Well, it looks like we need to talk to this man.
Stone Cold
Let's bring
Steve
him
Austin
out.
has challenged Bret the Hitman Hart on numerous occasions.
This is the man that my brother Bret
Indeed,
is
we had
scared
hoped
of.
that Bret was going to join us.
I can see why.
Certainly there was no promise whatsoever to the World Wrestling Federation that he would be here, only allegedly to Owen and Brian Pillman. Nonetheless, I'm sure Bret will soon be making up his mind as to whether or not he's going to return to action at all. And some believe, and certainly a lot of his family members believe, he should just retire and accept all of the wonderful accolades that he has achieved here in the World Wrestling Federation. And folks, he's done it all. He really has nothing more to prove.
Quit while he's ahead is what you're saying.
Stone Cold, you've heard our thoughts on this. Why do you think Bret's not here?
The whole world knew that Bret Hart wasn't going to show up. Stone Cold sure as hell knew that. The bottom line is, when Stone Cold's in the house, Bret Hart is at his house because he's scared of Stone Cold, and that's the bottom line. As soon as I rolled into the WWF, Bret Hart, you packed your bags and took your carcass back to Canada.
Are you trying to say Bret Hart's a chicken?
Bret Hart doesn't even qualify as being a chicken. He's a slimy substance that runs out of the south end of a chicken. Let me make myself clear. If you put the letter S in front of Hitman, you've had my exact opinion
I don't
of
think
Bret
we
Hart.
have to go there. I don't think we have to go there at all.
Bret, you and me are alike in a lot of ways. You say you're the excellence of execution. I live it every day of my life. The problem with you is you always cared what these people thought. Stone Cold never gave a rat's ass about anybody. Bret, if you ever do come back, and I hope you do, son, we're going to get in this same ring, and somebody's going to get their ass whipped, and Austin 316 says it's going to be your ass, and that's the bottom line.
'cause Stone Cold said so. And
Stone Cold-
Philadelphia sucks.
All right.
Because I
Stone
said
Cold
so.
Steve Austin in his commentary.
All right, so another excellent promo from Steve Austin where he essentially is calling Bret the Hitman Hart the shit man. If you put an S in front of your name, you'll know exactly how I feel about you. And he has that little chicken comment, right? The slimy substance that comes out of
Yeah, he's like, you're that slimy substance that comes out of a chicken.
One thing that you didn't see, because this is audio, so if you go back to Mind Games and check out that promo, it's at about 24 minutes. You see Brian Pillman's wearing a shirt that says, I don't call 911, and it has a gun right underneath it. Something that would never fly today. And I thought it was interesting because we're just a month away from the home invasion angle where Pillman has the gun on live TV on Raw. So maybe the T-shirt is what sparked the idea from creative to, let's involve the gun in the home invasion. Because Austin's going to go to his home and Pillman doesn't call 911 because he has a gun.
Yeah.
So maybe there's a spark of creativity in that T-shirt. I just thought it was fun because you never see that today.
No way. And while we're on the top point of Pillman, just the end of the interview promo, whatever you want to call it, he says Philadelphia sucks. Philadelphia sucks because I said so.
yeah. Austin just finishing up saying that's the bottom line because Stone Cold said so. And Pillman throws that in there right at the end.
And as Patriot fans, we could appreciate that.
Yeah. Screw Philly.
Yeah.
Unless you're from Philly.
Yeah,
You're listening to us.
Yeah, thanks.
So Owen Hart is the one that introduces Stone Cold. So the segment starts off with Pillman and Owen talking, and then Owen calls out Austin saying that this is the only guy that my brother fears and won't have a match with. And then Austin comes out down to the ring, and he's wearing his new vest. He got rid of his Dallas Cowboys vest, and he has his Austin 316, Austin on one side, and then 316 on the other side. On the back, it has the skull, and it says Stone Cold, right? I think it says Stone Cold on the back.
I think it does, yeah.
It's like metallic lettering.
Mm-hmm.
A lot cooler than the previous.
Yeah, Hot Topic font, you know?
Yeah. So he's getting another addition, so he's becoming more of that Stone Cold character, which is why we named this episode Stone Cold. And also, of course, he's going to talk about Hart, as you just heard. So I thought it was a great promo. And if he's not going to have a match on the pay-per-view, then it's a damn good idea to give him some mic time and build up anticipation for what seems like an eventual Bret Hart match. Which there will be one. Don't worry. We'll get to that. All right, so then the next night, on Raw, Austin's not involved at all, from what I noticed. So we go to Raw 178, which is September 30th. He has a match with Jake Roberts. Now, I've seen as many Jake Roberts matches as I want to see already at this point. And JV did something about it. He didn't watch this match.
No. Well, yeah, it was on, but I wasn't watching it. Is the kind of the best way to put it. I did all the work, got to the timestamp, and when's this one start?
It starts in the first minute.
Yeah, I thought so. Right at the beginning, I was like, you know what? Nah. Gonna see how my fantasy football team's doing right now.
So it's 10 minutes. It's not really much going on. Again, it's one of those situations where they're putting Austin in a match where it's really about somebody else's storyline. So at this point, Austin's not involved in any feud with Roberts, but Roberts is involved in an angle with Jerry Lawler. It's a continuation, really, of Roberts and Austin, where Austin is saying that Roberts has got a cheap bottle of Thunderbird and he's drinking his whatever away, you know. So Lawler continues with that. And he has Jim Beam jokes.
Beam.
He even has a bottle of Jim Beam, like a little flask thing. I don't know what they're called, but those little bottles.
It's like a pint, I think, isn't it?
Not the nip.
Yeah, the size up that you get. You get it for like under $10. I think it's a liter, isn't it? Or something, half liter. I don't know.
Maybe.
I only buy the big bottles.
So he has it, and he's holding up to his face, smiling about it. And it's funny because Jerry Lawler doesn't drink, so He's probably thinking like, oh yeah, this is a lot of alcohol. And it's not. It's just like this little tiny ass thing. A lot of nothing. Probably just get a buzz on it. So he has more jokes about that throughout the match. Nothing really great there. Actually, yeah, sorry. The week before, on September 23rd, Austin did do some commentary, just calling out Bret again, and that's when he calls the stalker Barry Windham, right on commentary. But eventually they end up going with it anyway, and they'll just refer to the stalker as Barry Windham from that point on. At this time, fake Razor and Diesel are being advertised on Raw. Well, actually, they're not being advertised as fake Razor and Diesel. They're being advertised as Razor, Big Daddy Cool Diesel. So you have all these different things going on in this match. So everything's being taken away.
Of the two, right? If you had to pick one, fake Razor or fake Diesel, one you think they probably would have worked if they kept rolling the ball. Who do you think would have rolled? Who would have went further?
I don't know.
I say Diesel. You know why? Because fake Razor looks so ridiculous. Like, he looks like a poor Halloween costume version, like the cheapest Halloween costume you can find, pre-made. The ones you get in like a package. It's got like the shitty vest. Like that's what it looks like. Yeah. That's what that guy looks like.
Yeah, I would have to say Diesel too, because
all right.
You'll see in a couple months later in the Royal Rumble, Diesel lasts a long time in the match. He's in the top 5. And he looks great.
Yeah.
Obviously it's Glenn Jacobs who becomes Kane. So you got a good athlete, a good wrestler there. Yeah, imagine if they just continued on with Diesel.
Yeah.
Pretended it was Diesel all along.
We would have never gotten Kane.
No. So good thing this thing sucked.
Yeah, but fake Razor, I just thought, I'm like, man, all right, I know Diesel's Kane, so he's got a benefit there because we ended up knowing how Glenn Jacobs, develops as a superstar. But just from look alone, Razor Ramon just looks ridiculous. Ridiculous. It's like a South Park character.
The only thing with Diesel that doesn't work is that he's just way too big compared to the frame of Kevin Nash.
Yeah, it's a totally different,
like jacked ass Diesel.
It's
real
lighter.
Diesel. Yeah. So another thing to point out in this match, and I brought it up earlier on, that the Austin 316 signs, the Stone Cold signs, they didn't come out the day after King of the Ring like they like to say in the documentaries about Austin. They are first appearing here, September 30th, 1996. Actually, a week before because it's taped. But that's when the signs are first really seen on camera. As I've looked through and watched just about all of this stuff, and that's the first time I'm noticing these signs. So while people may have been bringing signs earlier, they just weren't on TV. And if it's not on TV, then people won't know about it. So people start bringing the Austin 316 signs really at this point. And again, just another addition to him becoming who he is. He's now getting fan support. And that changes everything once you have the fans on your side. And then we have a couple of weeks go by after this, and we go from Raw 178 to Raw 180, which is on October 14th. But before that, let me just run through September for us, how we wrapped up September and who he was going up against. All right, so he's on a South African tour at the beginning of September, has a match with Jake Roberts, Yokozuna for 2 nights. Then he has that match with Bret Hart on the 14th. On the 22nd, he doesn't have a match at In Your House Mind Games, but he has that nice promo with that we just listened to. He had the Raw tapings where he has a match with Roberts, and then the match we're about to talk about with Shawn Michaels. On the tapings of Superstars the next night, on the 24th, he has a match versus Zip from the Body Donnas. And then he also attacks Savio Vega in another part of that taping. On the 26th at a house show, he goes against Roberts. And then again, for the next 3 nights, 27, 28, 29th, he is up against Savio Vega still. So just constantly Savio Vega, really, throughout all of 1996. So he's working with almost all the time. All right, so back now to Raw 180 from October 14th, 1996, against Shawn Michaels. Now, the first thing that's notable about this is that they're eventually going to have that match at WrestleMania 14, where Austin's going to win the world title for the first time. That's a year and a half away from at this point. So that's really what's interesting about it. So it's their first match, and nothing really great about it. JV, what were your thoughts on this match?
I didn't. It's a forgettable match, which is why I didn't remember anything about it until I started watching it again. But JR kind of, I don't know. It kind of starts off ridiculous because the match is kicking off, and JR is like, "This is the greatest match in Raw history." In Raw history, that's the greatest match. Like, I know Raw at that point ain't been around for decades, but still, it's a non-title match, and it's the greatest match in Raw history. It just seemed like, all right, you lost me. You're going overboard. You sound ridiculous.
Yeah.
But, no, not much.
Yeah, and again, you have the interruptions. You have Jim Cornette and Vader cutting a promo during the match.
Yep, which goes back to the point where he's just kind of there. It's the spotlight isn't on the match. Something kind of interrupts it all.
And going on.
It's pushing another agenda.
No, I guess this makes some sense to it because Raw's only an hour, so they got to squeeze in interview segments wherever they can. So that's why I think it happens so often.
Yep, no, you're right. I agree. Yeah, from a production point, they have to make the most of their time, and that means taking away from the matches.
Right. So ultimately, they say, "Oh, let's do it during the Steve Austin matches, though." Ends up being that way. Vader eventually interferes. So having that little interview segment makes sense because you're putting the idea in the audience head that, oh, Vader, you get them thinking about Vader from the promo, and then he comes out at the end.
Yep.
And he interferes with Shawn Michaels because he's about to have, he just had matches with Shawn Michaels at SummerSlam, so still has a lingering feud going on. And then ultimately, the match ends in a big Donnybrook. You have Vader, Savio Vega, and that just wraps up that episode. And then that brings us to Buried Alive, In Your House Buried Alive, which is October 20th, 1996. And the build-up throughout August is that Stone Cold's going to have a match with Savio Vega. And that's why Vega came out at the end of that match on Raw 180, along with Vader. Because they were about to have a match the following week. That was the go-home episode. But Savio Vega ends up getting injured on a house show just that weekend, right before the pay-per-view. So Savio can't have that match, so he gets replaced. And he gets replaced with Hunter Hearst Helmsley. So this is the first time we're going to see Stone Cold and Triple H have a match with each other. And before the match starts, Austin has another promo where he calls out Bret Hart again. So that's a constant theme, is that we're getting constant Bret Hart. I want a match with Bret Hart. So while for much of this time, as you see, we're doing like a hodgepodge of different matches with different people, in the back, it's always Bret Hart is what he's trying to get to. And it's just that Bret Hart's not there yet. So he's waiting for Bret Hart to come back. And Bret Hart is going to be back the next night, October 21st. So Austin brings up the fact that, I hope Bret Hart's here tomorrow to announce his retirement, because if not, I'm going to retire him. So, nice little promo. We don't have it up for you, but go to Buried Alive, and you can take a listen to that. It's right at the beginning of the show. It's 2 minutes into the show is where he starts that promo and then leads to the match. And once the match gets started, once Austin comes down to the ring, we have a pleasant surprise, a pleasant change. And that is the classic Stone Cold entrance music with the glass breaking is used for the very first time.
The best theme ever.
Yep. And you hear it at the end of our show, but next week, that's going to be the opening of our show, will be that music. And we've been constantly going along with this, the Ringmaster music for the first 4 episodes, because that was his entrance music. So that's why we continue to play it at the beginning. But now that it's not going to be his entrance music, it's no longer going to be our entrance music.
You don't have to listen to that garbage anymore. That trash.
Not that it's bad. It's just it didn't fit his character after a while. So.
It's like Psycho Sid should have been using that.
Yeah. So this new entrance music is badass, you know that. And it just hypes up the crowd. Even at this point, too, they seem surprised by it. Like, whoa, this is good. This sounds cool.
They react much differently in the future when they hear that.
Oh, yeah.
Hear that. So,
at this point, Jim Ross, now on commentary, he is going heel because he's introduced Razor and Diesel. And he just has this whole new routine where he's pissed at Vince McMahon and the WWF for treating him like crap. So during this match, we have pleasant distraction. I didn't mind it this time in this case, but they're really focusing on Jim Ross. And, like, that's the theme again, right? Focus on something else. So they're focusing on the Jim Ross angle. But in this case, it's kind of funny because Vince McMahon and Jim Ross are going back and forth with each other. And JR is making fun of the fact that Vince doesn't know any of the names of moves. And they're just kind of barbing with that. So I thought that was entertaining. And the match was decent. Match was very good, you know, in a sense, because you have two good workers there.
Yeah, I thought it was good. Absolutely.
Yeah. Another thing that stood out to me, I was telling you earlier, JV, is that you had two guys in the front row, you know, with sticks up their ass. It seemed very pissy, and they're just getting involved. They're talking to Austin outside the ring, and Austin's telling them off. You can't really tell what they're saying. Austin tells them off and gets back in the ring, and immediately as Austin's getting in, Hunter is getting out of the ring and goes right up to them and says something too. And the match is kind of just on hold because of this. And then eventually Triple H will get back in the ring and they'll continue their match. But something must have been said that pissed Hunter off, that he had to go out too and confront them. And it just seemed like butthurt the whole match. And even when the finish happens, they're like shaking their head and they're all pissed. So go back and watch that and look at those guys. They seem ridiculous.
Yeah, I didn't catch that, so I'm gonna have to go back
It's
and
very
check
quick
that out too.
But once you notice that, and then if you just keep your eye on them throughout the match, you're just like little bitches.
Your boy
You don't listen.
Yeah, right. It's entertainment only.
Yeah, it's entertainment.
Sorry, it's your character. We're not taking shots at you personally. But
it was 22 years ago.
Yeah. But your boy Tim White, which you mentioned in a previous episode, is kind of reffing a lot of your boy like he's your friend or something. Just inside joke, but Tim White, reffing another one of Stone Cold's matches.
Another Austin match. Yeah, it's probably just worked well with Austin and just wanted to do his matches.
And we're full blown Stone Cold here now, in my opinion. He's got a lot more skulls. He's rocking the skull more on his vest. You know, he's got the theme music now. He's got that ass kicker mentality. He's full blown. Like, I would say this Buried Alive is when
Buried Alive, he's Stone Cold.
We get the full, authentic, total package Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Right, including pegging off his opponents.
Yeah, that's right. The double birds. That's right.
Yeah, he gives the double birds to Triple H. And another thing I noticed in the crowd was you had one kid like shocked, probably like our age at the time, like a 13-year-old. And he's shocked. He's sitting with his dad, and his dad's like laughing, like, and his dad's doing the double birds too. Like, you see what he did? That kid probably thought his dad was wicked cool.
Yeah. But even into that,
that's kind of what made Austin appealing, is that he's the first to start saying ass and
he broke the mold.
Throw up the middle fingers.
Yeah.
So he's cool. He's cool to a teenager.
He worked. He was the 90s.
Was
yeah.
Right. The 90s hadn't reached wrestling yet.
Yeah.
Really, at that point.
Yep. Wrestling was still lagging.
Austin comes along.
Wrestling was still in the 80s. Some people still had haircuts. They're like, man, you should have probably gotten rid of that style. Mixed it up. White Snake ain't around anymore. But in addition to Stone Cold really becoming Stone Cold here, another reason why I say that is because Vince, is showing a lot more annoyance with Stone Cold Steve Austin. You can see that he's really annoyed by the things Stone Cold's doing, the things he's saying, how he's using foul language, flipping birds now. Like, Vince is annoyed, so it's.
Yeah, Vince is annoyed, but once he starts seeing the money coming in, then and we'll see that as time goes on. Vince throws himself right into the mix.
Hey, he could have known from the start. Like that was his way of embracing it. Like if I hate it, people will like it more. I don't know.
Yeah. So this match ends up being more about Triple H or Hunter Hearst Helmsley and Mr. Perfect. Because they get something going on too over the past couple of weeks building up. They're supposed to have a match next night on Raw. Perfect's supposed to make his return.
His ring return, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
So,
taken
during
all of Triple H's valets.
Yeah, he's taking all the escorts, valets, and he comes down to the ring
Escorts.
in this match to do the same very thing, but Austin gets in Perfect's face and throws soda in his face.
Yep. Which you know something's going to happen to that suit at the start of the match because it's either JR or Vince. One of them compliments Mr. Perfect's suit. Look at that nice blue suit as he's walking out of the ring. And then, what do you know?
Didn't catch that.
He throws soda on it and he's taking the suit top off, the jacket off.
A little foreshadowing.
Yeah, foreshadowing.
All right, so Hunter goes after Perfect too, so they're supposed to be in this feud. Yeah, on the next episode, it's exposed that Perfect and Hunter have been working together. So this is all like a big ruse, and leads to a little melee outside. Ends up being a double count out, and that's it. Well, no, it wasn't a double count out, was it?
No, he hits him with the stunner.
Yeah, he gets the stunner.
He stuns him for the win.
Yeah,
because he throws the double birds, and it's the first time it's kind of like the sneaky style stunner. Like I'm pretty sure he has his hands up, then he flicks the birds, and then he drops the
stun. Yeah, it was about to be a double count out, but then they work their way back into the ring, and they get back in, does the double birds, and gives them that stunner.
Yeah.
A little bit better stunner than we've seen previously. So
the stunner we learned to grow in love.
Right. So again, it's more of that that packaging, the full total package of Stone Cold. He's still not doing a gut shot at this point, but it's a little bit closer to what we end up seeing a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And so that brings us to the end there. He gets the pinfall after the stunner. I'll give it a 3 skull rating.
I'm going to go with 3 skulls as well.
All right. So we have 2 3 skull, right?
Overall, I actually, as good as that Hidden Gem match was in South Africa against Bret Hart, I think this match with Triple H was more entertaining to me.
Oh yeah, this one's more entertaining. So we didn't give a skull rating for that Bret Hart match, but if I were to, I would say it was 3.
I'd give it a 3
also.
Yeah, yep.
And then the previous match with Mark Mero, I gave it 2. So 2 skulls, 3 skulls, 3 skulls for me. Wrap that up. All right, so that brings us through October. Let me just run down October real quickly from the house show scene. You have more matches with Vega to start the month off. He has a match with Fake Razor. There's 3 matches from October 8th through the 10th with Hunter Hearst Helmsley. So he had 3 nights in a row where he was able to kind of get used to Triple H. So when this all went down with Vega, they probably just looked back at who's he been working with. And just make the match with that. And they looked at the list and he's had matches with Vega. He has a match with Mero. And he had 3 with Triple H. So they're probably just like, well, nobody's seen that yet. So let's go with Hunter Hearst Helmsley. They've seen the shit out of Vega and Mero at this point. So that's probably the thinking behind going with Hunter here. That he just recently worked with them. And nobody's seen that on TV yet. He goes on to Buried Alive. Has that match that we just talked about. And then you have the Raw taping, which I'm not going to spoil right now because we're going to talk about it next week. And then on the 22nd, he has the Superstars taping, where something happens that pertains to next week's episode, so we'll get to that next week. And that wraps up October. So the end of October, I'm not talking about it until next week. And that brings us to talking about what next week is all about. Okay, next week's episode is going to be excellent topics for us to talk about. It's November 1996, so the tail end of October and into November, you have the Survivor Series pay-per-view. And he's going to have that match with Bret Hart that's been building up over the past couple of months throughout September and October. And then also you have, at the very beginning of this month, you have the Pillman home invasion. Pillman's got a gun.
Pillman's got a gun.
So some exciting stuff to talk about next week. We jam-packed a lot of information into this episode just so we could get kind of on track with maybe going like a month at a time. Okay, obviously we'll do it weekly basis, figure out exactly what we'll do, but we want to try to get to that point where we have one solid month. We just cover that. And because of the way that this was structured from October from June through October, you had kind of like a hodgepodge of different types of things going on with Austin, and not one real true storyline going on, other than the fact that his matches were always interrupted for other storylines. So now we're on to kind of like real structure with Steve Austin. You're going to have November, where it's building up to Bret Hart, and then from December to January, it's building up to the Royal Rumble match. And then February, he has the Final Four matches. So there's just more structure going forward. And so next week gets us kicked off to kind of being on that straight path to get right through his career, little by little, instead of having big chunks of time like we did this week. You can find me on Twitter at MPRU83. JV, how about you?
I'm John Van Damage on Twitter, and on Instagram I got John_Van_Damage.
And also we're at Bottom Line Cast on Twitter also. All right, so JV, you got any final words? Bottom line?
No final words. No final words. Just Stone Cold is here. He's molded. We got him, and we're gonna ride him now out into the sunset. So.
All right. So thanks, guys, for listening. Keep listening. We got a great story going on here next week. Pillman home invasion. Bret Hart Survivor Series. Thanks, guys. See you next week.